Hello, real estate world. Welcome to the Nova Show, Real Estate Records. This is Nuria Rivera, owner of Novation Title. I wanted to create the space for you guys to be able to share success stories, but not only success stories. I also wanted you guys to be able to share raw stories. Everything that you have learned from the failures, the lessons, the wins. This is a space for our community to come together so that we can help each other rise to the next level. This is the space to be vulnerable, and this is the space for us to all be able to support each other in this real estate world. Please enjoy this episode.
Hello, and welcome to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. My name is Tristan Hammett, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today, we are excited to feature John Baque, a standout Utah realtor. John's unwavering dedication, extensive market knowledge, and exceptional negotiation skills make him a trusted partner in real estate. He was named one of the top 20 Salt Lake City real estate agents on social media by Property Spark in 2019 and has received the Platinum Hall of Fame award from the Salt Lake Board of Realtors for 8 consecutive years. John's commitment to his clients' success, his innovative approach set him apart. Get ready to learn from one of Utah's finest. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Tristan. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So this is my first time meeting John, so you're going to get to know him with me. So John, let's back up, and where are you from, and then how did you get into real estate?
Yeah, so I was born in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh.
And then I was adopted when I was 2, and I grew up in Olympia, Washington.
Okay.
And then I got recruited to swim at the University of Utah. So that's how I got to Utah and got into real estate in 2014. So I graduated in 2011 and pretty soon after got into real estate.
Wow. Okay. So why real estate?
By accident.
Yeah.
I was going back to get my graduate degree and I needed like a flexible job, and Josh and Lee Stern were hiring at the team. And so, I started as an admin there, and then next thing I knew, they were like, you should get into real estate. Like, you should actually get your license. So they helped me get licensed. I started as a buyer's agent. So I got to really learn from the ground up how to do real estate. So, and then it just stuck.
And that stuck. Okay, awesome. And actually, so you've been top 500 agent
every year since they started.
Okay, yeah,
and
I'm like, that's pretty amazing. And actually, these are my favorite stories because you're not from Utah, so you don't have that SOI that every brokerage is telling you to reach out to. You know, I'm sure you had some friends that you had made in college and high school and things, but you didn't have that like solid, you know.
Totally.
So tell us, how did you get your first transaction?
Open houses. Old school open houses.
Okay.
You know, graduating in 2011, the economy was not very good at the time. So people my age weren't exactly jumping into the real estate market. So open houses is how I started meeting people. And I remember I sat this one listing on 5th Avenue 6 times. And I met 3 clients from them, and that's how my career started.
Wow.
And so I would stack my weekends, 2-3 open houses a weekend, every weekend, my first year in real estate. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think if I was an agent, I would totally sit open houses.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting to meet them and talk to them. That's incredible. Okay, so that's what kind of got you rolling.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about like year 2. So year 2, you're in. You've had some transactions under your belt. Because I know now you do a lot of your referrals, SOI, and that. So, but year 2, how did that keep going? Because you were also top 500 realtor.
Yeah. So year 2, and I guess this goes back to what I've always felt as far as referrals and SOI. Like, I didn't have a huge SOI. I transacted, I think, 30 transactions my first year, and so. And a large part of that was due to being on a team. Like they were pushing me out there, forcing me to do the right things. I never would have done that had I not been on a team that did that. But I treated them, I felt like if I treat them so well, I go to bat for them. And I was strictly a buyer's agent year 1 and 2, that they would send me referrals.
Yes.
And so that's how people started coming through as referrals. I wasn't having to do as many open houses, and I didn't have as much time.
Right.
Because I was busier.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So how did you make that difference to where you really stood out and made a difference in their transaction to where they wanted to refer you?
This sounds so simple. I feel like I just cared. I think that my clients could tell I cared a ton. And that was whether, just making it seem like it was so easy up here, which sometimes to our detriment, right? Our clients sometimes don't think that we're doing a lot, right? Because it's so easy to them. We just want it to flow. So and then when you get to the closing table and they're like, oh my gosh, like how did this all happen so fast and so easily? That's what I really did. Is I really cared.
Okay. No, and that does make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, and do you still, so your follow-up, because I mean, you still have to follow up and stay in front of your clients. So do you call them monthly or just check in on them, or how does your follow-up work?
That could be a lot better. Luckily I have a really great automated system now that everyone goes into. They get automated postcards, they get automated anniversary gifts. That has been a saving grace. I still do an old school like pop by with like an olive oil from Mill Creek Olive Oil, and it's just like a yearly pop by right around the holidays. And usually I can't get them all done before the end of the year, so it's either like holiday or New Year. So it's like, either way, it's a good excuse to touch base. And
I love that.
I get to, and a lot of times when they're home, I end up going to their home and sitting down and talking for like an hour sometimes.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's a very special touch, and it's not and I love that you're doing the Mill Creek olive oil. Local. It's local.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He always does a special blend, and not being from Utah and not having a huge SOI, it's manageable still.
Yes.
I don't have thousands of people I have to go see. It just would never work.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about your social media. So social media, you received in 2019, and maybe after that, but the top 20 Salt Lake City real estate agents by Properties Baque.
Yeah, so they've been doing that every year since. I think that was the first year they ever did it.
Oh,
so that was really cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, how'd they find me?
Yeah.
Social media has been a great tool. I've met clients on there that have been following me since day one.
Really?
Somehow they found me, total strangers. It's a really cool creative outlet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you post consistently, or what are you doing on social media?
Could be much better at that.
Okay.
But yeah, I try to post consistently and just really share the client story on there. We can all post just listed, just sold, and I do that. But putting a story behind it, if as long as my clients are okay with it, and letting people know, like, hey, this wasn't all easy. These are the challenges they face. They may have been working for 4 years to build their credit to buy a home. Like, what an accomplishment.
Right, and so many people can relate to that.
Yes.
So they're like, oh, like I can do that too. I just need to talk to John.
Yeah.
to get started.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have so I know you were saying you've got a social media person that kind of helps you out.
Yeah.
Is that more for like your brokerage marketing type stuff?
Yeah, and mainly in listing marketing.
Okay.
I don't pretend to be the video editing king, and like I can do it all, right? I know what looks good from a photographer perspective. But yeah, I'm not good at like splicing it all up and putting into a reel or whatever, whatever people do now, right?
Yeah, but it's also like, it's very time consuming to do that. So why not just have somebody that's an expert in that and can whip that up in like 5 minutes?
Exactly.
When it's going to take us like over an hour.
Yeah, I got the place beautiful. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like I can talk about this narrative behind the listing and all of that, but putting it out there on social media and making it look good, not my specialty.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll stick to homes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And you've helped countless clients achieve their real estate goals. Can you describe a memorable success story?
Ooh, so many. I'd say the most memorable and most rewarding was a client that I'd met in the industry. They were working for a lending company and had gone through a divorce, single parent, and rough credit after that. And so helping them build their life back up and getting them with the right people. It was probably a 2-year process to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I'll never forget. They got this really great place, that was perfect for them. She had 2 teenage daughters at the time at home, and so it was hard. And this is when the market was insane. Like we were going up against cash offers all the time, right? Oh, and I will never forget sitting in the car outside the garage, writing the offer in the car so we could get it into them before anyone else would.
Wow.
And so yeah, it was so great, and they're still there. I just saw them the other day.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that was one of the most rewarding ones.
That is, and it just goes to show that just because right now you can't, the answer is not no. Mm-hmm. It's just like, no, we need to fix these things.
Yeah.
And we will get you there.
Yeah.
It just might take some time.
Yeah.
So if this is really your end goal and what you want, like you will
Totally
get there.
And I'm a huge believer, when the time's right, the time is right. Right? Even if you're financially ready and everything's there, but the perfect house isn't coming on the market, or maybe the buyer's not walking through the door. When the time is right, that's when everything flows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And are you someone that goes to the office regularly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
You do?
I have to. I have a great home office, and it's kind of a shame. It's pretty empty all the time.
Okay.
My office, the synergy at the office, being able to just shut the door and just focus, I'm way more efficient at the office. If I'm at home, I'm like doing laundry.
Yeah.
Doing laundry, I'm cleaning, I'm ordering food, like all these other things.
Okay.
So
I've noticed that that's a big common denominator between top producers.
Really?
Is that they go to the office and it makes sense. You're around other people that are working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
love that you go in there.
Collaborate on issues that's going on, or just walking down the hall and saying, hey, like, what do you think of this pricing? What's going on here, right? I mean, I think it's a benefit to our clients that we are collaborating with each other, even though we're all independent contractors. Because, these people have been doing the business as long as I've been alive.
Right.
So they can always give me a better perspective or a different one.
Absolutely. And just asking questions. And yeah, that's great. And with your, well, I kind of want to change gears a little bit. What does one take to get the Platinum Hall of Fame Award from the Salt Lake Board of Realtors?
So the Hall of Fame used to be a production amount. And when I first started getting it, and then they moved it to the Realtor 500. So the Realtor 500 is just the top 500 agents in the Salt Lake Board of Realtors based on production. And then to get into the Hall of Fame, you have to contribute to the Salt Lake Board, whether that's volunteering, donations, activities, stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, and you are very involved in the communities around us.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. How has that helped you in your business and in your personal life?
Oh man.
And what are you part of?
Yeah. So I would say right now my biggest one is the Women's Resource Center downtown.
Oh.
And I any kind of volunteering where you're able to get out in the community and see things that you wouldn't see just by being work home all the time. It's eye opening, and it gives me, I hope, more empathy for everyone's stages of life, right? And helping people remind them that this may be a bad season of your life, but we're obviously here to help. People are here to help, and you can get out of this if that's what you want. So that's really, it's probably one of the most motivating things I do.
Wow.
I love transacting. I love helping clients, but getting out there when there's like no expectation of like, except for just helping. That's all they want.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And obviously volunteers are needed everywhere. There's so many different communities and charities and things that we can get involved in, but for you to find something that you're passionate about. So why the Women's Resource Center?
So my brokerage started serving meals there. We had like a monthly rotation of serving meals there, and that ended, and so I just kept going back.
Oh.
I met, the people, the women that run that place are so amazing. The volunteers and other people that you meet are all walks of life, just like really cool people. So I just kept going.
And if anyone that's listening, any of your viewers or our viewers, how can they help the Women's Resource Center?
Yeah, so you can go, they have like a rotation of volunteers. You can go online or walk into the Resource Center. It's right downtown off State Street, so really convenient. And if they've got room for you, you slide on in.
Okay, and then do they take donations? I'm assuming like maybe it's like clothes,
food. I've never done a food donation there, but
Okay.
I know they do get a good amount of food donations.
Okay.
So that's the biggest on my end. What I've done is help serve meals, prepare them, and then get them out to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I want to talk about your negotiation skills. Exceptional negotiation skills are crucial in real estate, as we all know, and you've been through the ups and downs of real estate.
Yeah.
So how do you stay sharp in your negotiation skills? And is there like a particular, are there some tips that you can share on negotiating?
As far as staying sharp, I would say it's mainly just being in the market all the time. Even if you're not busy, just get yourself out there, see what inventory is sitting, what's not sitting. Look at price trends. If you tend to work in a certain area, look at those price trends and say, okay, days on market are here in, say, Daybreak, right? And in this segment of these year built with a 2-car garage and a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, you've seen X amount of, appreciation in the last 2 months, 6 months, right? I think having those skills and knowing that helps you negotiate with your client a lot of times, right? And educating them, because a lot of times they don't know those things. I mean, that's our job is to know that. So just stay sharp. Like, staying sharp is just being in the business. I mean, being in the market.
And knowing the numbers.
And then the biggest tip I would say is let your ego go. Get out of your own way.
Okay.
This is not about us. This is about what's best for our clients and what they want, and what we want. They want is a seller wants to sell and a buyer wants to buy. So how do we get everyone to an agreement that works for both parties?
Wow.
Right? And that's in the best interest of your client.
Yes.
So.
Okay, and let's staying on top of market trends. There's a lot of different resources and media outlets and things like that. Are you listening? Are you watching the news? Are you listening to certain podcasts? And then and then on top of that, like, what kind of books or podcasts do you listen to regularly?
Yeah, so I'm a big Brendan Burchard fanatic. He's a coach. He's not just real estate coaching, but he does business coaching in general. So that really, he helps me get my mind right when it comes to the business.
And is this a podcast?
Podcast and audiobooks.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got a few series now. And then, as far as, I'm a very analytical person. I love to look at trends. I love to, the Salt Lake Board is such a great resource. They've got all the numbers you could ever want. Mm-hmm. So I love to just go there and I'll just analyze them and keep up to date on them. Okay. So kind of boring, but
no, I get it.
That's how I do it.
And do you have a morning routine?
Just starting a new one, actually.
Oh, okay.
I got out of one. So I used to be like a morning yoga person, all that. And then I kind of just fell out of it. And so now every morning I'm going to the gym by 6:30 in the morning, walking on the treadmill, doing some weights, and then going back, having my morning coffee and breakfast, then to the office.
That's awesome.
So
okay,
keep it simple.
So starting at, what time do you wake up?
I wish I could sleep in. I'm like a 5:30, 6 a.m.er.
Really?
Naturally.
That's great, though.
Naturally.
That is great, though.
Yeah.
Because, you go to the gym and then you're already, started your day.
But I am jealous of people that can sleep in.
Really?
Oh my gosh. It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Like, on vacation, maybe 8 a.m.
Okay.
Like, if I'm really relaxed.
Okay.
So.
What are some of the, for anyone that's moving into Utah, what are some things that you can tell them about the market trends? Because here it's a little bit different from what I understand. Yeah. There's a lot of our housing is a little bit more expensive. Mm-hmm. We've got low unemployment rate. Yeah. So anyone that's moving into the Utah market, I guess, what are some things that you would say are the best here in Utah?
As far as, we are very lucky to have such a pro-business state here, which brings in a lot of people. And so that's naturally going to create competition. And, we have mountains on each side of us, right? The land is not exponential.
Right.
So, getting comfortable with, I think a lot of people think of Utah and they're like, oh, I'm going to get this huge ranch, tons of space, at least 1/3 of an acre and whatnot. And then they come here and it's like, oh, this is way more urban than we thought it would be.
Right.
Right. So just forewarning people on that. But I think Utah, we have a place for everyone. Mm-hmm. You've got historic homes up in the avenues. You've got downtown, cool condos, lofts, townhomes. And then if you do want that ranch, we've got plenty of places out here that are big legacy ranches, from here to Park City. So there's a place for everyone. It's just really figuring out how far you want to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Utah is a special place. I just saw, actually, I think it was yesterday. Did we get ranked top state?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always getting an award.
I know. I know, it is such a beautiful state, and so much to do here. Speaking of things, do you have any hobbies that you enjoy?
I love to eat.
Oh, okay.
I love to go out to eat. I'm a foodie.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh gosh, you can't go wrong with Copper Onion, Osteria Moore, downtown. Went to Tuscany last night, had a great dinner on the patio.
Wow.
So there's so many great patios and great sceneries and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay, cool.
yeah.
All right. And what do you see like as future trends in Utah? Are you foreseeing anything?
I foresee it being a tight market. I still believe that we have enough people moving into the state that it's going to keep pressure on the builders to keep building and building and building. But at the end of the day, it's like we can't control whether or not they're going to build. So I do think it's going to maintain a tight market. And I think I'm starting to see a lot of people, this is a random thing, and maybe it's because I'm doing stuff downtown right now, a lot of people downsizing from their big homes, like say up in Park City, sick of the snow and whatnot, wanting to move down to have like a pied-a-terre downtown, and then they're just going to be traveling more.
Oh.
So, which is great because we've got plenty of families that want those big homes.
Yes.
So it's kind of an interesting cycle.
That's a good observation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think senior living is going to be a big, a hot market. I see a lot of people that have stayed in their homes longer than they had wanted to, and they really would like a nice, upscale-ish main level living situation with low maintenance.
Yeah.
And there's not many.
Right. And that is something, if we have people listening in that aren't from Utah, it's very common here to have multiple stories. Mm-hmm. So, and multiple bedrooms.
Yes. A lot of bedrooms.
A lot of bedrooms. So for that makes sense. The senior living, I mean, you stairs are a little harder to get up and get down from, and you don't need 6-7 bedrooms anymore. So that's a very interesting.
Especially, nationwide, we have an aging population, the baby boomers, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're all going to need homes that don't have 3 flights of stairs to get to your bedroom.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about that with my house, and I was like, maybe get the stair thing.
The stair thing, yeah. Stairs. Stairs aren't awful. Stairs are really good for you.
Yeah,
right? But I think a lot of the homes are so big here too.
They are.
Right. You got grandma and grandpa living in a 6,000 square foot home.
Yeah.
By themselves.
Yeah. You don't need it.
You don't need it.
You don't need it.
So.
Okay, and I just lost my thought. I was going to ask you another question, and so this is what happens. You said something, and I was like, oh, I'm going to ask. Okay, sorry. Okay, sellers. That's what I was going to ask you. So sellers, what kind of conversations are you having with sellers right now? Are you seeing that they're scared to make that move or that jump, or and like what are your conversations look because of the interest rate that they might have in place?
Going to a lot of my sellers right now are people that are relocating for work, like they have to move. Very few, and the other sellers are people like I just talked about, downsizers. Mm-hmm. And luckily a lot of these people have a lot of equity in their home, and so they're able to purchase cash on the next purchase because they're downsizing so much. And the people moving, it's they have had to been offered a really good opportunity to make it worth their while. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And as far as just the overall market, talking to sellers while we're listed, it's be patient. Right now at the end of the day, certain markets have 4 months of inventory. So I think people are like, why are we still on the market 30 days later? I'm like, that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean that we're crazy overpriced or that we're not in the right spot. It just means that we just need to wait for the buyer.
Yes.
And keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for I want to talk about like marketing your listings. What are some of your best ways of marketing a listing? Do you get it staged, or how does that?
Yes, I'm getting it picture perfect, fake living ready. So important. Mm-hmm. I think you can think about from a buyer's perspective. They're coming in, they're paying possibly more than what they would have for rent, right? And they're making a big investment. Rates are high. They want to live that aspirational lifestyle and walk into a ready to go home.
Okay.
Right now, obviously we have people that are investors and flippers and people that love a project. But I do believe right now with rates and just where people's monthly payments are landing, they want a nice, clean, ready home. So cleaning, staging, decluttering, the whole bit, getting that place ready will help you so much.
Yes, I completely agree. And then people can really envision themselves in that home.
Yeah.
And how their furniture would go and things like that. I think it's so important. So that's awesome that you do the staging. And do you do like the photos and like the professional photos?
Oh gosh, yes. Professional photos, video, drones, when applicable. Also layouts I think are really important. Having like a 2D layout of the home with measurements, because a lot of these people that are buying, they're coming from out of state for a job. And so for them to be able to look at the layout and say, okay, this is a yes or a no, it's so much more efficient.
Yeah.
Because then we're not showing the home to people that like, they're like, oh, we didn't know that room was there.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. And for your buyers, what kind of conversations or what are you seeing out there right now with buyers?
A lot of hesitancy.
Really?
I think I think we've had, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I've heard differently. We've been watching rent stabilize, right? So people, my generation, or even other people that sold and then rented for a while, and then rates go up. And so we kind of are at this crossing point where like, okay, the value isn't always there, right? I mean, obviously home ownership is a great value. You are paying your own mortgage, not a big corporation's mortgage, right?
Right.
Or someone else's, your landlord's. But I do think short term, a lot of people don't see that value there. So really talking to them about, okay, over 5 years, you would have gained, X amount of wealth if you buy this house, right? If we just take the law of averages.
Okay. Yeah. Right? So you're giving them like the numbers, the bigger picture.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you do that with a lender? Like, do you have a lender that you're doing them with?
Yeah. Multiple. It's like, I think numbers, like, because again, I'm very analytical.
Yes.
Numbers are power. Like if you can sit there and say, okay, here's your monthly budget you've created with your lender, and here's exactly where you need to be price wise. Like stick to that price, right? And if you can't find something in that price, right, it's just not the right time,
right.
Or maybe you adjust your expectations. So and say, hey, it's worth it for me to get in the housing market right now. I know it's time to. It's a great opportunity right now to get in. So let's adjust. Maybe it's not the dream home. Let's make that home number 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. And what about investing? Do you help any of your clients with investing? And then how do you get like that conversation started?
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of it they come to me. They say, hey, like we've done well on this home. Should we cash flow it and go to another home? Right. And and a lot of them, it's part of their wealth. It's a lot of it. I think a lot of wealth managers are talking about it, right? And so it makes the conversation for us easier. Then we're just dialing down numbers and saying, okay, here's what you need, here's where you want to be. And yeah, so I think I have 2 investment properties, and
okay.
It's not always easy work, but it's wealth.
Yeah.
So,
and are they long term or short term?
Yeah.
Okay. And would you prefer the long term versus the short term?
Yeah, so one of my investment properties is in Rancho Mirage, like outside Palm Springs.
Oh.
And so it's a 28-day minimum rental. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. Like, I'm not going to be able to make as much money if I want to rent this out, right, per night. But then you see all the wear and tear, the neighbors being mad, like, and whatnot. Like, to me, it's just not worth it. I think you can get a really good spread on a 28-day rental in certain markets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, where's your other property?
Downtown condo.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And that's been long term.
Okay.
Since 2015.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
That's awesome when you can get a good
Oh
renter
my gosh,
and you don't have
so
to.
good.
Yeah.
It's a little 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo.
Oh, sweet.
So it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. And if you could talk to your new agent self, what would you tell young John Baque?
Ooh. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned in this business has been to, when things are going well and things are rolling, lean into it. Like, it's a great weekend to probably do an open house. If you're on a roll, right, and you're in a good headspace, go for it. Like, that's the time to go get, more business and more clients. If you feel like you're constantly pushing a rock uphill and things are just not going well, I'm like, take a break. Take a weekend off. Go do something else.
Okay.
Yeah, because there were definitely months where I would just push and push and push and nothing would happen, I'd take a break and then the floodgates would open.
Just like kind of getting your mind right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, because you've been through like a few markets, how do you like get your mind right and navigate like the different ups and downs? Is there something in particular that you like to do?
Alone time.
Alone time.
I think we spend a lot of time with people and in front of people.
Yeah.
And now with experience though too, also reminding myself that, what people consider the hot market, the best market, that was a hard market, right? We were writing 30 offers for every client. So remembering that it's just a different challenge.
Yeah.
Right? Every market's going to have a challenge. So just remembering that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And probably like in like alone time, just quieting the mind.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts to a real estate transaction, and it can be stressful.
Yeah. And that's when I get my best thoughts. If I'm in a challenging transaction, I'm like, okay, how do I best help these guys?
Yeah.
Just sitting alone, listen to some music.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, John, I appreciate you coming on here with me.
Thank you for having me.
And do you have any last thoughts?
I would just say my biggest piece of advice is just remembering that it's not about us. We are parties to these transactions, but at the end of the day, it's all about the client. And when you can get to that point in your career where you can just step back and detach kind of from the outcome and all the stress and all these things going on, it helps you see things way clearer, and you'll make a better decision for your client and help them get there.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and where can people follow you?
John Baque on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
I don't have. Well, I have a TikTok. I just never use it.
Okay.
So I should probably get into that, right? So yeah, that's the best place to follow me.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing a bunch of advice about everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.